Hi, my name's Chrissy and I'm an earth science teacher for those of you that are new here. For those of you that are not, welcome back. And today's video, I'm going to share with you my path towards teaching. I've been getting a lot of videos about this and also how they themselves can become teachers. So I thought I'd share my story and then also different ways that you can become a teacher as well. I do have 3 disclaimers though. The first one is that my path might be different from yours. I knew without a doubt I wanted to be a teacher, so that's why I chose the path that I did. But some of you might not exactly know. It might be something you're thinking about, but not quite sure, and you don't want to give yourself such a tight, narrow walkway. So your path might look different than mine because of that. Second thing, states in the US vary from their teacher preparation programs, vary from their teacher requirements even. So just know that if I talk about a test or a certain number of field observation hours that your state either doesn't have or has a different amount of, then just kind of take that with a grain of salt, because again, every state is different. Sadly, I wish it was all the same in their requirement to become a teacher. Some states are a lot easier to teach in and other states are not. Third thing, if I am missing any information that you're looking for, or if you want to do your own research, which I highly recommend, I would definitely recommend checking out your state's Department of Education website. And through your Department of Education, they are going to tell you exactly the pathways to become a teacher and the different degrees that they accept, the different number of observation hours, the different tests that you have to take. They're going to tell you all that information there. So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend it. It's your state's, insert the name, Department of Education website. Now, my pathway. First, there are 3 that I am aware of. There might be more, but the first one is just getting a degree in education with either a minor or dual major in your certification area, which is what I did. You can also just get a degree in your content area. So I could have gotten a degree in earth science or in geology or environmental science. I could have done that. The third way is if I'm already a career professional and I decide, you know what, I really love kids, I really love sharing my passion for science, I want to become a teacher. You can do that third option, which is the Career Switcher program. I'm just going to talk about mine first and then I'll touch upon the other 2. So I knew when I was in high school, I wanted to be a teacher. So I used this website called College Board. It might still be prevalent, not quite sure. And when I went to College Board, I put in all my criteria for colleges and out popped mine that I went to. And I fell in love with the program. They got you into the classroom as soon as can be. So that was my first year, my freshman year. I was actually in the classroom watching teachers teach, watching them implement classroom management and behavior management strategies, learning about my pedagogy in my education philosophy course, I think it was, learning about essentially how to become a teacher. So I really fell in love with my program for getting me into the classroom as soon as possible. Why I also love my program is because they had those built-in observation/field hours. So to become a science teacher or just a teacher in general, and I'm fairly certain this is the same throughout the states, you of course need a minimum of a bachelor's degree. You also need field experience and you need to pass your certification tests. So you need all 3 of those to become a teacher in most states, I do believe. With an education degree, you'll of course get that background, your bachelor's degree, and you will also get your built-in field experience hours. So you don't really have to worry about the hours part because that's part of your course. The only thing that you're gonna have to do on your own are your certification tests. So my program, I was taught regular general education courses. These are things like I mentioned before, education philosophy. I also did a DASA course, which is Dignity for All Students Act. that taught you about what it is, and also you would take, by passing that course, you essentially pass the DASA certification test as well, which is a requirement for the state that I was in. I took a diversity class, I took a special education class, which taught me all about IEPs, which are individualized education plans, and 504s, which is another type of education plan. I also took student teaching and a few other general education courses for learning how to become a teacher. Then I also took science general courses like earth science, natural disasters. I took climatology, meteorology, oceanography. I took a field course, which was awesome. We got to go out to Death Valley and we measured the strike and dip of different rock layers, and then we put them into a program to look at the orientation and essentially how those rocks formed. It was pretty cool. Anyways, I took some general science courses, and then I also took blended courses that taught you how to teach science. And those were my favorite because I really felt like a science teacher, and I really felt like I grabbed the most information from those courses. I took that my junior year, I believe, junior year, maybe senior year as well. There were 2 blended courses, and you would have to create lesson plans, and you would both, you would do like a mock presentation to your class. The class sizes are fairly small, at least for the school I went to, because education in science, and specifically earth science, is pretty small. For the one course, I had 10 students or 10 classmates in there, and for the other course, I had like 4 kids in there, which is awesome for the professor-student ratio. So we'd create lesson plans, and then we would do a mock presentation by presenting them to our peers, and we'd get feedback and critiques from each other and the professor. And then we would, part of that class was built-in field observation hours. So we'd go into the classroom that we were paired with, and we would teach it to actual kids. So it was really great. I felt like I grabbed the most information from those courses, and I actually kept a lot of the lesson plans. I mean, of course I'd keep mine, but we also would share them amongst each other. And so I keep them all. I have these binders that are separated by units, and I keep them all there. Sorry for the thing, there we go. I keep them all there so that way I can reference them, since I already have experience either teaching it or being a student and just loving that, that lesson plan. So that's why I really loved the education degree, is because I felt like I was learning how to become a teacher while also learning the science background that I may have missed from high school, because of course you do go more in depth in college. Now, of course, that's not the only path. If you don't want to solidify yourself as a teacher, which, by the way, you can use an adolescent degree for other things. You can, you know, if you want to work at a zoo, if you want to work at a museum, you can be the education curator there. You can curate field trips. You can even just do a regular geology job, since technically I have a dual major in earth science. I say dual because it's not technically dual, but it is a dual. It was weird. But so you can do other things, but if you're not quite sure and you don't exactly want to put yourself into that situation, you can go for just a regular science degree, or if you're history or math or whatnot, for a regular one of those, and you can graduate with that math degree. And this also goes into the second career path as well. Let's say you take that math degree and you want to try out a different career, like, you know, engineering or whatnot, or science, right? If you want to try out, you know, geology, you can do that. And then if you decide that you are not a fan of that, or again, that you just have a passion for teaching and sharing your love of the science, then you can become a teacher through a career switcher program. This might be a little different, again, state to state, so please check that your state's Department of Education website. But generally, the Career Switcher program is through college, and I think it's asynchronous, or at least virtual, and you get field observation hours, so you get paired with a local school and you get your observation hours that way, which are a requirement, and then on your own you pass your certification tests. I can't remember if I talked about this. I don't think I talked about this yet. I did make this video about 5 times and I wasn't happy with any of them, so I think this is just going to be it. But there are certification tests that you do have to pass. That's the final requirement. Again, minimum of a bachelor's degree, that built-in field experience or field experience hours, and then those certification tests. So I did have to pass a DASA certification, which is the Dignity for All Students Act. I had to pass a reading test, a writing test, and then my content proficiency test, meaning that I am proficient in that content area, so that way I can teach it to kids and not mess them up. I think it's all pretty straightforward certification tests. Nothing are too like, oh, why am I taking that? They all kind of make sense. You should know how to read, you should know how to write, you should know how to speak English properly, although I don't really, and you should know how to teach your content area. So you can take a career switcher program, which essentially gives you that field experience that you didn't get in your original degree. So a lot of my colleagues have done that path. I'm actually the only one that has a education background. Everyone else is actually a career switcher, which is kind of interesting. But I can only give you my perspective really from that education background. But please do check out the Career Switcher program if that's something you're interested in. You can also switch your major halfway. Well, not halfway, you can switch your major while you're in college too. So if you just want to start off as a science student and then later you want to add in some education courses or an education degree, you can do that. Because as long as you're passing every course and as long as you take every course, you can get that degree. So those are my different options or different paths that I recommend. Either an education degree, a career switcher degree, not degree, but pathway, or adding on a education degree if you're already in college and you're thinking about teaching. You can do that too. I hope that this helps. Sorry if I talked really fast. I was trying to keep this under 10. It looks like it's about 12 minutes right now, so I'm not going to talk anymore. Thanks for checking out this channel. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. Feel free to also add in your pathways as well to help anyone that's watching this video. Have a great day and good luck with your future teaching career.